Hey friends, aloha! Welcome back to the Destination Baby and Kids YouTube channel. This is Gina. I am here in my Hawaiian shirt to go over some baseless infant car seats with you today. So I'm really excited to be here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. These seats in front of me, they're very exciting. So all three of these are going to be infant car seats, meaning they are exclusively rear facing and they are also super portable. You can always tell an infant seat because it will have a handle which denotes the portability of the product. So that's really cool. What seats are we looking at? So the seats that we are looking at today, this one on my left, your right, is going to be the Perego Primo Viaggio Urban Mobility. The seat in the middle is going to be the NUNA Pippa Urban. The seat on the end over here in the black is on my right, your left, is going to be the Clek Lingo. So all three of these seats I sell. All three of these seats are an awesome option for newborn. All three of these seats will easily take you through at least the first year of the baby's life. And all three of these seats have a baseless installation with lower anchors. So that's very exciting. Now, all the infant car seats that come with a base, you're actually able to remove the seat from the base and go ahead and take that seat and buckle it into a car without the base, but you have to use a seat belt. So for a lot of people that can be frustrating and annoying. And what's so great about these seats is that if we wanted to install it without a base, we're going to be able to do that with the lower anchor connectors, not with the seat belt. So that's very, very exciting. And that's what's going to make these three seats super unique compared to the other infant seats that are on the market. Now, let's talk about some of the differences between the seats. So I have I've made videos on each one of these seats. So if you want a little bit deeper dive, you can certainly go and check out any of those videos. But Urban Mobility from Perego, as you can see here, has the UPF 50 sunshade. It is a full coverage sunshade. It's enormous. What's special about this guy is that this one is the only one of the seats that we're looking at that has a no rethread harness. So that means when we want to do any height adjustment as the child gets bigger, there's a button on the back of the seat to be able to move the shoulder harness up, and you can see that headrest moving up and down, and I'm doing that from the back of the seat. So I don't have to redo any of the threading of the harness in order to get it to the correct size on my child's body. We love that. Also, compared to the other two seats, this car seat is going to hold the biggest kid. So it's pretty monstrous. The weight limit is 35 pounds and the height limit is going to be 32 inches. So if you wanted to really make sure you were getting a strong value for dollar in terms of how long you could use the seat, this one is going to be the longest duration of use for all three in terms of the physical size that it allows. Additionally, very cool feature about this seat is going to be that it is made in Italy. Another nice thing about this seat is that it has harness retainers, so we're able to tuck the harness away when we're taking our child in and out. The two-stage padding for infants, removable as they get larger, and flame retardant free fabric. So all of that is included. Now this is the only color that this is offered in. This is called, I just think maybe Onyx, but it's very workable with a broad variety of strollers. And the cool thing is this guy will work with strollers that have Maxi Cozy adapters, provided you buy an additional set of universal Lynx adapters from Perego, which most stores aren't even aware of exist. But of course your girl knows about it, because what don't I know? All right, as far as baby stuff, there's plenty I don't know. But as far as like strollers and car seats, no fair amount. Okay, so Pippa Urban. This one is a little bit tricky compared to the other two seats that we're talking about. And it's not tricky necessarily in a bad way, but this guy has more restrictions about it than the other two seats. And you're like, what are you talking about? So the restrictions with this one are going to be, it's going to hold a smaller child. We're looking at a height range on Urban, I think up to 29 inches. Yep. And then the weight for this guy, a baby can start at 4 pounds and then go all the way through to 22 pounds. So the last car seat we were just looking at, that Urban Mobility from Perego, that one's going to hold a kid up to 35 pounds and 32 inches. This one cuts out at 22 pounds, 29 inches. So a shorter duration of use. Additionally, between the three seats, this one's going to be the lightest. So your Lingo's clocking in when we remove the infant inserts here at about 9 pounds. Same story with the peg. NUNA is going to be like when we remove the infant pieces, probably closer to like 7.5. So definitely a little bit lighter weight, but of course it takes a smaller kid. So that's where some of that is the trade-off. You also have harness retainers here. This color that you see is called Cedar. And the cool thing about Pippa Urban is that you will be able to have more color choices. So with Lingo or Urban Mobility, you have one choice for color. Here we've got lots of flame retardant free fabric that and a couple different color choices. Now what else is restrictive about the NUNA is going to be that you can only buy this car seat if you are buying a NUNA stroller that goes with it. So they only offer certain colors on certain packages. Cedar, which is what you see here, I don't even know what stroller this matches. I'd have to look to see. It's really hard to keep up with NUNA. They are like shifting products all the time because they keep coming out with new stuff, which is great, but it's just hard to stay on top of it. This guy is also gonna have harness retainers like we get with the Peg Perego. And NUNA, I think, has a standard 1-year warranty. The Peg Perego Urban Mobility has a 2-year warranty. NUNA is made in China. The Peg is made in Italy. The Peg also, the expiration is 7 years on this product, and that would start from date of purchase, whereas NUNA's is going to be an expiration that starts at the date of manufacture. So I think this guy is probably also 7 or 8 years for expiration. Yeah, 7 years. So 7 years, but it is a 1-year warranty, and then you've got a 2-year warranty on UppaBaby, or excuse me, on Peg Perego. So got lots of products I'm looking at. So that is a good thing. They both have a warranty, which is great, and they both have 7-year expiration, even better. Long time to use it. Now, when we're talking about warranty and expiration, that's where Clek is going to be vastly superior to the other two. Now, additionally, if you want transparency with your brand, you are not going to get a more transparent brand, in my opinion, than Clek. The seats are made in Ontario, so they're made in Canada. They are made in North America. That is very exciting. Both NUNA Urban and Lingo are a manual rethread harness. So on the Urban Mobility, the first one we looked at where the headpiece scooted up and down very easily, these guys, as the child gets larger, you're going to physically rethread the harness. Not difficult. If you've ever done a shoelace, you're going to be able to do this, no problem. That being said, let's get back to the warranty that we were talking about and expiration. So the Clek infant seat has a 9-year expiration, which is awesome. They're not forcing you to have kids in rapid succession. No, you can have your children spaced out and you can still be using the same product. And what's so thrilling is that in 2024, they introduced their limited lifetime warranty, which means that the seat is warranted to the original purchaser from the date of purchase through to the end of the usable life of the seat. So you're gonna get a full 9 years of coverage with this because that's how long the expiration is. So that is pretty fabulous. You're looking also at a UPF 50 sunshade. You've got the little ventilation in the back, which is fabulous. Now, biggest difference between these seats, Urban is actually gonna be, again, the most unusual between them. Because if we're looking at either Urban Mobility or Lingo, there's some common ground here. Both of these are like not made in China. Urban Mobility is made in Italy. Lingo is made in Canada. Both of these seats are, you know, like 9 pounds. So they're roughly the same weight, which is really great. They only come in one color a piece. They're gonna have the flame retardant free fabric. One thing that Lingo has that nobody else has, which is sick, is going to be that you can take the fabric off to clean it with the zipper. So they just introduced this year, just like so smart. So if this gets vomited in with a bunch of formula, oh my goodness, the smell, it's like what nightmares are made of. The great thing is we're gonna be able to peel this material out and wash it. So we're not spot treating because like getting it back on is a nightmare. We're just gonna zip it back on and we're gonna be able to move on with our life without having a bunch of dirty formula or milk sitting in our car seat material, making the whole car smell sour. Not that I would know from experience or anything, but it is really, truly horrific. Okay, so we love that this material is easy on and off. I will zip that up later. But these two can be purchased on their own. So again, if we're talking about Pippa Urban from NUNA, you have to buy it with a NUNA stroller, but in addition, this is going to be the only one that has fixed, God, this is tight, fixed lower anchors. So that means that these are not on any type of flexible nylon. Some stores and some people who sell this seat really like that feature. Personally, I'm not a super strong fan of this feature. Let me demonstrate why. A lot of people that are using the baseless car seats want the option to be able to like take them in and out of an Uber or multiple cars very easily. So let us zoom out a little bit here and see if this can be useful. All right, so here we have a back seat, a vehicle back seat, and down here are the lower anchors, okay? Every car 2003 and newer has them. But like for instance, I fielded a phone call today with somebody who bought an old car seat from me years ago. She's a 2010 Prius now, and her base for her car seat won't fit into her car based on where the latch placement is. So people think I'm insane for bringing this up. I don't think I am. Some cars, especially newer cars, or like my vehicle, the latches are really pronounced and exposed. That's great. It makes attaching a car seat to them easy. Where that starts to be problematic for me is that if the car seat cannot tighten onto a latch, sometimes you'll have what's referred to as lift. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. With Lingo and with Urban Mobility, because it's attached to flexible nylon, we have the opportunity to tighten those seats in to prevent that kind of lift. Here, because we've got a pronounced latch, which means it's sitting more out and exposed, it's very easy to hook the seat up. And so customers love that. But the reality is sometimes after they buy it and they start using it, they say, well, there's kind of movement. There's movement. Is that supposed to be normal? Yes, it's completely normal. It's completely fine. But as you can see, because of the way the seat sits in this demonstration, it's not completely butted up to the interior of what's referred to as the seat buck. So it's still awesome that it is like a fixed latch because it makes it very easy and it's easy to squeeze to take on and off. And as long as your latches are exposed, it's very easy to hook it up. Conversely, if your latches are exposed, you're going to have movement. So for me, because this seat would be priced at $400 if it were sold on its own, it holds the smallest body of child. And because it has such terrible flexibility with being able to be purchased with other car seats and also this method of installation, it's probably not necessarily my favorite baseless car seat. NUNA is still awesome. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that as a brand there's anything bad about NUNA. NUNA is incredible. But just as far as like baseless car seats go, the things that people praise about this seat, I just think are important to talk about some of those realities. Now, does that mean that this isn't the right seat for you? You are going to have to make that determination. I think it's a great seat, but I'm just saying that for me, if I were to do a baseless car seat, I would probably be more value driven. So with our other two seats, might be a little bit stronger of a value considering they hold bigger, taller children for a longer period of time. When we hook up the Lingo, the thing about this that's important to keep in mind is Lingo was the first one out of the gate with the ability to do what we're about to show you here. So why does that matter? It matters because Clek is renowned for safety features. And I would argue that this seat, when you do the lower anchor installation just on its own, probably not nearly as awesome of a safety situation as what you get when you deal with their based seat. But what's great is that you can purchase a base separately for the seat if you want. The Pippa Urban from NUNA will never fit onto a base, no matter what you do. You can wish upon a star, you can sing a song, you can do a rain dance, but it will never, ever happen. Fetch is not going to happen with that guy. However, with Lingo or with Urban Mobility, we could purchase a base from those manufacturers to be able to work here. So a base for a Clek Lingo is going to be $250. $50. An additional base or a base for urban mobility is going to be either $120 or $150. The Clek is more expensive because it utilizes rigid latch and metal on metal. So their base is like insane for safety. Now this guy, it's in here beautifully, easily. You don't get the anti-rebound that you get with the base when you have the load leg, but if you set this up with a seat belt, you would get the European belt routing method, especially if you had the shoulder belt, and that would give you that primary impact force reduction, so sort of similar to a load leg by going around the head. All right, and if you have questions about that, watch the individual videos. Now, my favorite in terms of like value for dollar with safety features and all kinds of benefits is going to be urban mobility, no question. Now again, if I want the best warranty and be able to use it forever with like the safest base, then I would probably, you know, Clek's gonna win that. If I want the most attractive, I mean, NUNA's gonna win that. So like everybody wins in a different area. So, okay, let's just be real about that. But the thing that works for me so well about this guy is that it's just chocked full of features. So somebody who sells car seats and has to talk about features to consumers and get them excited and hyped about it and then show the value for dollar, this one's probably easiest for me to be able to do that because there's just so many features on it. So like we talked about, it has the no rethread harness for being able to move the seat up and down. But the biggest thing is when we install this guy baseless with our lower anchor connectors, I'm gonna do that right now, we have a built-in anti-rebound feature. So the other two seats that we were looking at do not have that. If you're like, what does that mean? Well, remember that movement on that Pippa Urban? If you do a Pippa with a base, you're not gonna get that kind of movement, especially the RX base, because not only does it have a load leg, but it has an anti-rebound plate. If we're looking at the urban mobility from Perego, and we tighten it in, one of the things that they tell you to do is to take the handle and move it forward to act as an anti-rebound bar in an accident. So we were able to tighten the seat in. So already I'm fond of that. It doesn't really matter where my latches are necessarily placed. I'm able to get a really strong, tight installation. Now, in addition to that, because this bar is here, if we're driving this way and we stop, we're gonna surge forward, we're gonna slam back. So this car seat's gonna do the same thing, because the head's the heaviest part of the body. Seat's gonna go that way. It'll still have that primary impact, but the secondary movement upward, because we have an anti-rebound bar, is gonna prevent that from happening. So that's really cool. You also have the side impact pods. So they shove like every conceivable safety feature onto the seat itself, which is great. But keep in mind, it also has nice features just in terms of like harness retainer to be able to pop the harness off the body easily. You also have the flame retardant free fabric. It's made in Italy. And as we pointed out before, just because I have this on hand and it's super close, I will show what I was talking about, where you can buy an additional base to be able to lock it onto. So now Lingo, you can do this as well. You will never, ever be able to do this with that NUNA Pippa Urban. Pippa Urban cannot fit on a base. It's not about like the correct base. It's just about that it is physically impossible to get it to click on. So why does that matter? Well, if you ever wanted to have a base, Lingo or Urban Mobility from Perego, you can change it up and suddenly have a based car seat where it will, and these you want to tuck back in to their spots correctly. But now we can go ahead and lock it directly on and it will work with the base. So again, the other seat that's going to do that is going to be Clek Lingo. Clek Lingo has the longer warranty, longer expiration, but PEG's is still really good. It's the 7 years for expiration from date of purchase, not date of manufacture, and then the 2-year warranty. Shortest warranty is going to be NUNA, and the shortest duration of use is NUNA, but again, we still probably sell the most of it. So it's just whatever you're into, you know? All right, if you have questions or you have comments, please feel free to leave them below. If you want to like my channel or subscribe, I would love for you to do that. Please feel free to do that. If you want to buy any of these awesome products, you can go to my website, destinationbabykids.com, and you can shop directly from there. I'll leave you a little note, say thank you. Yeah, but if you've got any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. I do have individual videos about each one of these car seats, so feel free to check those out as well. And feel free to check out any of my other 150 videos all about different baby stuff. I'm always happy to chat away with you, my lovely viewers. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate every viewer, every view. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in our next video. All right,